Every year, our seeding schedule is really important. Basically, when we sit down in January to do our seeding schedule, we are deciding everything that we're going to grow on the farm for that year. So that is a process of deciding what worked and what didn't work the year before, what we want to increase, what we want to do less of, whether we need to try a different variety, which varieties worked really well.
So we break crop planting down pretty simply. I mean, basically, you get a seed catalog. You look at how many days to maturity. And if you're direct seeding, you figure out, I need beets at what time, and then you count back through the calendar and you see when to plant them. If you're itemizing a CSA, you say, I want 2 beets for 2 weeks for 100 members. So, 2 beets over 1 week is 200 plus another 200 would be 400. So you figure out that you have, 4 beets per row foot, and you figure out how many row feet. And you do that with every single crop that you plant.
Field seeding, we start about when the ground can be worked. And then we do direct seed all the way up until maybe the 20th of August or so. So we used to use a Planet Junior to do all of our seeding on the farm. A push-behind Planet Junior 1-row seeder. So it's a lot of hand pushing on we grow about 20 acres of vegetables, so that's a lot of pushing. And we really liked that system because there's something satisfying about seeing the seeds going into the ground. It's just more tactile when you're doing it by hand. So with that system, what we would do is we had a little pushing 3-way row marker marking the beds. That row marker isn't entirely perfect, or say you hit a bump, your rows are going to be more irregular than if you just do it with a tractor. With a tractor, this row is always going to be this far away from this row, and the impact that has is on tractor cultivation.
This year we graduated to an Allis-Chalmers G tractor with 3 mounted Planet Juniors. So we use those to do all the direct seeding now on the farm. We decided to get the G tractor, one, because it definitely helped the speed and time of planting. And the biggest key factor was that it definitely made it more precise. So we're able to cultivate closer to the rows. When we were push seeding, we ended up with wiggly rows, so we would take out a little bit of the crop. Planet Juniors have 3 plates of 13 different holes, and the hole sizes continue to get bigger. And we're basically using hole sizes that are about 2 times bigger than the seed. A few tricks that we've learned from other people: we use talcum powder in the seeds, which helps break down friction. There's actually a decent amount of friction buildup with certain seeds. A lot of the round seeds, a lot of the brassicas, they get a lot of friction buildup. A little talcum powder will help release that and let things flow. You get a lot more uniform line. We use something called a scatter shoe. We have a mid-sized scatter shoe where the seeds will drop down through a hole and then hit a small plate and then bounce around this scatter shoe. So it makes a wider furrow. And then there's something called a closer, which closes the soil around the seeds. And then there's a press wheel behind the planter that actually puts pressure down on that row. And then you have 3 nice pressed rows where the seeds can germinate. A very important key after you've seeded is to take your pocket knife days afterward and dig up what you've seeded to see if it's germinating, how fast it's growing. The key to knowing what's going on below the soil is taking the liberty of digging it up. So we're definitely in the camp of overplanting. We found that from successful farmers that you want to take to market or have your CSA receive quality produce. And to do that, you have to plow down crops. And really, we just see that as part of the soil fertility. We don't see it as any waste. Long term, obviously, if you're farming an extra third of your farm, just to assure that you have grade A produce, you can slowly whittle all that down. But once you have cultivating tractors and you're set up with tractors, it really makes more sense to make sure you have enough of everything.